Well, we're live and in living color.
In living color.
This is Andrew Williams Jr., and we're having a special conversations with Andrew Williams Jr. And I like to tell people it's actually a conversation with Ambassador Andrew Williams Jr., but not because of a diplomatic designation, because I'm a media ambassador and a brand ambassador and a community ambassador. So I am he. Today, so today we're at April the 30th, 2020, 2020, yeah. And now it's about 6:12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in Los Angeles. This meeting was brought about by the introduction by Paul Ruffin, who's with Global Business Incubation, as am I, who introduced me to Terence Latimer, who has Food Tribe. And Food Tribe seemed to me to be something Nina Womack might be interested in. So we invited her as well.
Awesome.
Okay, great.
So with just that beginning, we do intend to download this and upload it to YouTube, so it will be available, and make the link available to you to share for those people that weren't able to join us. I did invite a few billion people, but since they couldn't.
I saw. That CC list in your email is monstrous. I could set up my own spam operation just on your list. You know?
That's funny, Paul.
Oh, I could spam all day behind Andrew.
But Nina, I did enable multiple people to share their screens. So I will let Terence begin, but I do want to make sure we include Let's Be Whole as well. And we'd like you to introduce all the things that you want to take time to introduce. But I'll turn this over to Terence. You have a live audience, Terence, so please be so kind as not to just tell us who you are and what you're doing, but why? You know, what's your why?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I would say that there are several layers to that. You know, if just as a kind of quick reminder, Food Tribe is a socially conscious restaurant review platform. And if you were looking to describe Food Tribe, the way I kind of describe it like an ice cream sundae. So you take a scoop of Yelp, and you combine that with a drizzle of Reddit. And you top that off with Tom Shoes. Tom Shoes is a business model, and that should give you a little bit of insight into Food Tribe. And you know what I can say is that my experience there really started as a blog. I started Food Tribe as a blog. I was working in corporate America in the startup world in the LA for about 12 years, and you know, started Food Tribe as a creative outlet. And I would say that was really as a result of, you know, just kind of looking back, understanding how important writing has been to me, you know, as far as my purpose and my why. So I would say that my why is writing. And, you know, like most entrepreneurs, my experience is then communicating that why through the skills and the network that I kind of have around me, right? And that's where Food Tribe fits into the picture.
Okay.
Wow.
Well,
great.
Can you walk us through your website? I have it on the screen. Can you walk us through your website?
You know, I'm getting a little bit of a blank screen.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Oh,
I see just a blank turquoise. Yeah.
Okay, then I must have hit the wrong button. Let me try this again.
Technology
is great when
but
it works.
If anyone is you know, joining in live, feel free to head over to my domain. The URL is Food Tribe US.
Oops.
Hello.
I think I hit the wrong button again. Hold on.
Sorry, I was saying it's Food Tribe US
.co.
.co, like co. Okay.
And Terence, I can no longer hear you. Can you hear us?
Oh, we lost him.
Yeah, it seems like we lost him for a minute.
He's frozen.
It happened after I pushed the button. Hopefully, it can come back. I was doing way too much.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. Let's see. This is where I was trying
Paul,
to go.
you have to show me how to do this background.
Go to your video and click the little up arrow, and you'll see change virtual background.
Oh, that's how you do it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
On it, whenever you're on a Zoom call, you could do that.
Yeah.
Anybody can do. Okay, I didn't
Here
know.
you go. I got
Thanks.
this one for you, Tina. Hold on.
Nina.
I mean, Nina. Excuse me.
Oh, look at that. Nice. Oh, that's so cool. Wow.
Wish you were here.
That's awesome.
Sorry,
That
I got
is
another
awesome.
one. I got another one. Hold on.
Let's see. I didn't know you could do that. Ooh.
All right. And then this is my peaceful one when I want to just make everybody feel like at ease. I do this.
Yes, there we go. Beautiful.
But then when I want to get serious,
I think we got Terence back. There we go. I love it. I love it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to learn how to do that. Thanks.
well, you go down to your video and you just right mouse click it with a little arrow. And it'll say background. It's pretty simple.
Okay. All right, Terence, we lost you for a minute, but you're back.
Back now.
Technical difficulties. I can just start from the top. I was just letting people know that if they wanted to head over to the website, the website was foodtribeusa.co. Yeah, if you land on the homepage, you'll see our tap navigation. We have 3 buttons in orange in the top right hand corner, which are probably the easiest ways to at least learn a little bit more about Food Tribe. We're really doubling down on local and online events this year, especially with everything that's going on with the COVID pandemic. Our review platform, I'm not a technologist, which is, one of the reasons why I was introduced to Paul. So like Nina, I built this website in several iterations. This website was not always as pretty, just through kind of, some of the sweat equity that I've been able to develop as an entrepreneur. That being said, ultimately we're looking to revolutionize the restaurant review space. And if we want to take it to an even deeper level, really conquering this whole food problem that we're having, and which has really been, evident through this pandemic that we've been seeing today, right? Like our food infrastructure is totally devastated. And so I've got this hypothesis. I believe that restaurants and foodies play, a special role in our community. And if we can activate them using a network of NGOs and nonprofits that, really operate in this space and really know the ins and outs of it, centered around something as simple as a restaurant review, I believe that we can affect a lot of different things. Like, in Los Angeles, more than anything, provides like this perfect melting pot of opportunity, right? I'm a son of Los Angeles, born and raised here. I've grew up in South LA, spent some time in Gardena, and through like some of the sweat equity that my mom and some of my family members have been able to generate, as well as like a passion for technology, I realized that growing up poor and not having access to food was not something that needed to be a reality, right? And so while I was working on my why and discovering my passion, I worked my way through college, and food was just a consistent theme with me. I worked in restaurants, and I was on the 7-year plan with college, really trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I had to leave school a couple of times, but I came back and my mom made me get a job one summer because I was getting lazy and getting a belly. And I got a job in the startup community. And it was really there that I found my passion for technology and using technology to solve like really complex problems. And, you know, I lost 170 pounds and got into shape and finished school and really got involved in startups heavily, and, you know, worked for some companies that had some nice exits, and eventually started Food Tribe and my consultancy on my own.
Excellent. Excellent. So, so Nina, can you tell us a little bit about Let's Be Whole?
I'm sorry, say that one more time, Andrew.
I was asking Nina to unmute herself and tell you a little about Let's Be Whole. That'd be great.
Sure. I had a question. I just wanted to know, first of all, is this an app that you developed, Terrence?
So right now we're just reviewing restaurants and food vendors. And so we've got our tap review model, which is one of the buttons that you saw in the top right-hand corner. You know, we focus on reviewing food businesses on 5 key areas: taste, appearance, price, people, and planet. Those are the 5 categories that we review our restaurant partners and food vendors with. And the idea is that, you know, we'd like to develop some proprietary technology to then, you know, serve B2B restaurants and, you know, offer them their own software services.
Amazing. That's great. That's great. I started, I'm also born and raised in South Los Angeles, a 3rd generation here. And I started Let's Be Whole, WHOLE, in 2015. And it's a holistic wellness brand for underserved communities. And we also have a nutrition security program, not food security, but nutrition security. We specialize in organic, healthy foods for the underserved communities of color. And so I've been out here I work with holistic practitioners in our consortium, and we bring everything from to the community: mindfulness, meditation, healing with herbs, yoga, agricultural training, aromatherapy, arts therapy, mental health support. And it's to take a holistic mind, body, soul approach for communities of color. So we can use integrative medicine to help, you know, preserve ourselves. So this is more from a preventive standpoint and intervention too. But food is a big component of the work that we're doing. And now, besides South LA, most recently within the past month, the work that I'm doing has expanded over to Africa. And so I'm working with different agriculturalists in different parts of Africa, so we can form a global agricultural cooperative to pull all our resources together and sell to a global market. As you know, China has a distressed relationship, you guys, with Africa, as well as the U.S. And so as farmers, underserved farmers of color across the globe, we're coming together so we can sell our products, agriculture and value-added products.
If I unmute myself, you can probably hear me. Well, but before you go forward, let's go back a little bit because underlying all this is Transmedia 360. And I'd love for you to share a little bit about that because, again, we have a relatively small guest list, but as you know, Nina, we do have a very big footprint. So I'd like for you to share people about Transmedia 360, if you would.
Sure. And I will definitely get into that next. I do want to say too that I recently just got appointed as the co-chair of the California chapter for the National Women in Agriculture Association, and we have about 25,000 members nationwide. So I'm the co-chair of the California chapter. So, and then with Transmedia 360, that is a company that I founded, a multimedia company focused on social subjects, subjects that matter. And I founded that in 2010. And we do marketing, we do branding, image is everything, and the way that your company is represented can make or break a deal. So we are professionals that have had many years, over 30 years experience in entertainment, and along with marketing for many years. So we produce brands, and Let's Be Whole is part of the brand that Transmedia 360 put together. Some of our work has included documentaries on gang prevention, colorism, racism within our culture, and as well as this wellness. And so everything that Transmedia 360 does is about social change.
Well, thank you. So Paul Ruffin, please consider this as the first time we've ever met, and introduce yourself.
I should be on. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Now we can.
Yes, my name is Paul Ruffin, and I am the Executive Vice President and also Chief Technical Officer for Global Business Incubation. I'm also function as the Executive Director for GBI Emerald Veteran Group, which is a cause marketing organization founded by veterans. GBI is an incubator accelerator founded in 1991 and was actually one of the first business incubators in the country. One of the advisors, and I don't want to use the word sub-founder, but part of the person that inspired Paul to do this project was Dr. George Kosmeski himself. If you don't know who Dr. Kosmeski is, he was the gentleman who was Chief Executive Officer of Teledyne, which is one of the largest telecommunication corporations in the world. He actually wrote the grant. That organization started by being awarded one of the largest grants ever to be awarded to an organization.
Oh, wow.
Also, too, because of the whole concept of business incubation comes out of the University of Austin. IC Squared is the institute and department. We are full-fledged members of IC Squared Institute. We are Paul and Tanya are graduate fellows, and that is the brainchild of Dr. George Kosmeski. The first, because of some of our ages, some of us will not have heard of Technopolis, which was the precursor to Silicon Valley. Technopolis started in Austin, and it was all about oil, and utilizing microcomputers and innovation to mine oil. That grew into the next place they started that project was what we now call Silicon Valley. So Dr. Kosmeski was the founder of both Technopolis and Silicon Valley. So we come from a very high pedigree of people. Paul McDonald was a veteran prior to my coming on board, but interesting enough, before he died, I played the last show that he did was Lou Myers. You'll know him from Different Strokes. Also, in our capacity as people who were spokespeople, in the world, as you see here in these testimonials that is coming up, besides retired Brigadier General Owen Gordon Bray, one of our spokespeople was Rosie Greer, and also one of them, the other was Willie Davis. Willie Davis just passed away about 2 weeks ago, and also for those who don't know, and that might be Miss Nina, because Andrew knows, but Paul passed away last week. And Willie passed away 3 days before Paul did. So, you know, GBI has suffered some major losses in the last 6 years. Not only our one of our chief executives, which is Lou Myers, but also Paul and Tanya's son, who was very involved in GBI, and now Paul and Willie Davis have gone. But we have a legacy, because here's the legacy of GBI. I have located, I know documented wise, 2.2 billion. But over the last 6 years, I have been able to record over 4 billion in economic development that was produced through GBI in Southern California alone. That is a phenomenal impact to be given to an organization, and to note that they did it by serving underserved communities. It wasn't the boys in Beverly Hills, you know, or, you know, and all the other, you know, places. These were inner city prospects, and that they groomed. And because of that, I can give you actual recording of 2.2 billion in economic development. Now understand this, these team of black folks and, you know, white folks, you know, Dr. Hess, Dr. Kosmeski, Dr. John Bollinger, together, this group has never received a dollar really in payment for the contribution that they have made. Literally, the concept of business incubation comes out of these folks. And also there's several others that are related to us due to our association and fellowship at IC Squared. As a matter of fact, GBI Emerald Vet was the impetus that got them folks talking and finally putting together Blackstone. And some of you are very familiar with Blackstone as a major incubator, accelerator, but kind of a property management company, but business accelerator focusing on veterans and veteran specific. They currently have 17 incubators in 17 of the major cities. Blackstone is a major player, you know, in that type of incubation. GBI was the first virtual incubator to exist. We were virtualizing and doing this stuff before, back in 1991, 92, utilizing the tools back then in creating what we call zero time, which Andrew is the zero time professor and director for GBI as it relates to this this conversation. But the whole notion of zero time in real time comes out of GBI, and it was developed and brought out of the wilds into community through these efforts. Now everybody's doing it and everybody's taking credit. But I will tell you this, you can do great things if you don't care who gets the credit. Because, you know, I don't know about everyone else on this call, but I do know about me. When I go before the Lord, he ain't going to be asking me, you know, about everybody else. He's going to be asking me about me. He's going to say, did you take what I gave you, and did you come back and make it whole and increase it? Because he's given me the skills, he's given me the ability, and now he's created an environment and resources that are literally coming out of the woodwork. These two buildings came to me all within a day, Nina. It was just amazing how things began to work, particularly over these last months. GBI is also has is an ecosystem of businesses and individuals who are professional business owners, consultants, et cetera, et cetera. And within this ecosystem that has been created, which we call our 10 Smart Team, this is how we are able to take an idea, incubate it, birth it, and accelerate it, because we have all of the necessary ingredients to make it work. such as Miss Nina's resources. You know, people come into the incubator, you know, we make the introductions. That's how we work. We are one of the true networking organizations, been networking long before it was ever popular and before people understood the economic impact that comes from being able to network and network properly and grow your network. The other piece too is that through our GBI Emerald Veteran Group, we have established an initiative called welcomehome.vet, and you can find that on the internet. It's welcomehome.vet. Primarily what we do is we change the culture of cities in this respect. Veterans are 100% skilled, 100% committed. 90% of the veterans that come out of the military are employable, as opposed to the mindset that most of us have that veterans are all suffering from PTSD. Yeah, a lot of us are, but guess what? We make it work. We have that kind of tenacity. Also, too, one point that most people don't realize that 80% of the veterans that exist are entrepreneurial. We are taught entrepreneurial skill sets in the military. Every single person, I don't care how dumb they are, when they go in and come out of the military, they know leadership skills. They've been trained in leadership. They've been trained in being able to take a situation at hand and do something. And so, when you understand how to capitalize on those skill sets for your community will automatically prosper both economically and civically and community-wise too. And we've demonstrated this. We have a pilot program, it was called Hutchinson, Minnesota, where we were actually able to take these concepts that I'm talking about, implement them, and the city right now, little podunk town in Minnesota, there is no old buildings at all in the city. It's all brand new infrastructure. We got 3M, we got a community college sitting in there, we've got high school. I mean, the nature that what's happening in Hutchinson is a prime example of what happens when the community wraps around their veterans and creates that wraparound community. Now, to give you a little other insight, one of the things that we discovered, in doing in learning about how can I say it? Well, let me put it like this. If you understand what a wraparound program is for people in reentry, you have wraparound programs that provide all of the support services for people coming out of prison. I deal with youth at risk. We have a couple of facilities in California. There is a reentry program and a wraparound program that's necessary for people to be successful. A lot of us have relatives. We know somebody who knows somebody, but there are a whole lot of people who don't. Now, and when you create on a community level a successful wraparound program, whether it be for prisoners, whether it be for children, whether it be for high schoolers entering into the adult world, the same stakeholders necessary for a successful wraparound program for community benefit are the exact same stakeholders you need to do business development and economic development. So what we have been able to do is because of that crossover and that synchronicity, we have been able to create a hybrid that produces both. We've got we've got jobs, we've got skilled labor in the city. The high school is tuned to train these kids in order to move forward into the next college level and also into the jobs that are available. We're getting highly, we just had over here at the Nest, a company called Enzymology Research Center. They do probiotics, manufacture probiotics. You know, they came to Eagles Healing Nest in order to recruit people that they will be able to train. They're hiring them on and they're willing to commit to making these professional people so that by the time they're done within a year, they're doing $75,000 as opposed to, you know, $18, $19 an hour. So we've been able to commandeer that kind of commitment and response because of what we call Welcome Home Vet. And so I will land it there, and that's GVI in a little bit bigger, probably a walnut shell, not quite a nutshell, but a walnut shell. How's that?
Well, thank you so very much, Paul. Now, you're the one who introduced Terence to me. So how do you see what we are doing can connect with what he's doing and what Nina's doing?
Terence, are you still on?
I'm here.
Okay, good. Well, the part of the reason that one of the things that we do at GBI is make introductions. You know, we begin to network, and based on the network that I know that you have, Andrew, and the number of people that you deal with, particularly in the Los Angeles area, and I was reviewing this young man's business plan and a few things that I'm going to be working with him a little bit, but upon reading through what he has accomplished, what he's trying to do, and what he and the enterprise that he is actually building, one of the first things that came up were several names for introduction, and you were one of them. So I wanted to make the introduction just because there are things that I know. I am not a McDonald's man. Anybody that tries to get me to that cash in real quick, I can make, you know, I'm gone. I don't got no time for you. You know, I don't care how much money you're making. That's not where I'm at, and that's not how I track, because I'm trying to create an infrastructure that's going to be around 100 years after I'm gone. You know, so in order to do that, you know, it takes time to build relationships and resources. So my job is to get people to that first step where those relationships can start happening. I know that you're a great mind, Andrew. Nina, you're a great mind. Terence is a great mind. You get them three great minds talking to each other, guess what happens? Some great stuff is about ready to go down. I can sit there as a janitor and play my bass, you know, and go, yeah, I knew them win.
That's awesome.
So that's how it rolls.
Okay, well, look, I'm going to, Nina, I'm gonna juggle this a little bit and ask you to explain to Terence what you're doing with the food in our community.
Exactly.
If you can unmute yourself, then we can hear you.
All right, are you there? Can you guys hear me?
Yep, you sound great.
So every week, Terence, I am donating food to the community. I've been doing that for 2 years, since 2018. I was doing it in Lamert Park, also in the West Athens area over by Gardena, and at the Martin Luther King Trauma Prevention Center, which is a Department of Public Health facility where the Martin Luther King Hospital is. Because of the coronavirus, some things changed, and the farmers market that I was picking up on Sundays, they shut down on Sundays. So they're still donating to my organization on other days, but so I'm not taking it to Lamert anymore right now. And I still am serving the West Athens area every Thursday. I had a food donation earlier today. And so now, because of the COVID-19, I'm getting calls from other communities. So the city of Gardena now has asked me to come bring food there. So we're in the process of coordinating that, and we'll get started within the month. I said, you know, a couple weeks to a month for me to get everything together with volunteers and and food and so forth. So we'll be taking it out to Gardena and also the Rampart Village area, which is by Koreatown. So I'll be taking it there also within the month over there by Koreatown. So the need is growing. I'm having different large agencies contact me now for food donations. So today we were able to serve 3 large agencies, their clients. The AIDS Health Foundation came and picked up from us. The People Concerned, which is a social, when Paul is talking about wraparound services, People Concerned is a wraparound service provider. And then also this Latin church called Iglesias International came and picked up. And so I'm getting it out to these agencies. I'm also serving these different communities, and it's expanding, getting more food donors, but we need a lot more because the demand is increased. So, you know, I am looking for more food donations, and maybe you can be instrumental with the food tribe and with the restaurant database that you may have, or putting the word out on your website, because we are on the front lines circulating the food.
Yeah.
And then I also
Ms.
think
Nina,
that,
real quick, just as a note, you and I need to talk about that, because I'm actually going to be working back hustling from manufacturers. I just got finished delivering about 75 pounds of pork to the food shelf, along with a bunch of Frosted Flakes. I've got one of the big things too out here in Minnesota, interesting enough, is all the pork farmers are having to kill off their pigs because they don't have enough room to store them. It's become a major issue. They're literally destroying good food because there's no place to process them, and they can't move them through their herds. But I'll be actually soliciting manufacturers and acquiring donations. There's a number of organizations that I work with too that do the same thing. And so you just need to submit me your needs list, and I can either make your connections or actually put that on, you know, as I'm calling these manufacturers. I just wanted to land it there before.
yes, go on.
Sorry, go for it, Nina.
I appreciate that, Paul, and if we could coordinate with that, because I would like that information with the manufacturers, and I'll tell you why. I was going to, my next topic was to tell Terence how I feel like I could also help with his food tribe. Is you guys, Andrew, you didn't know this, but I'm on the LA Good Food Policy Council. So I'm part of their working group, and our goal,
With Claire?
Yeah, well, she's not doing it, and she stepped down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
we have, now we have a young brother that's running it, Ronell.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm on that same policy council. So I don't know if because I'm supposed to be gathering information on manufacturers and other businesses other than restaurants and so forth. So I'd like to see, if you're not in our database, how we can support you, get you in the database, and you know, there's funding and policies and so forth. I just think it could be.
I think you guys had a webinar yesterday, right? That I missed. You know, I set a calendar reminder for myself for the working group. But I had a conversation earlier today with a potential media partner. You know, number one, like, I think the work that you're doing is awesome.
Thank you.
You know, I love that you're in South LA. One of the organizations that I was working with last year was an organization called Love My Neighbor Foundation. Are you familiar with them?
No.
Well, my friend Haley, she passes out meals every Thursday to the community down in South LA. And our Food Tribe's evergreen campaign is called Radical. And Radical is about raising awareness around the conversation around basically around sustainable food, right? And what the hell's going on in our food infrastructure? Like Paul just got done saying that
Yes.
we're having to, you know, slaughter a bunch of pigs, yet, you know, you can't buy bacon this week, or, you know, like what the heck is going on in our food infrastructure system, right? And kind of going back to the hypothesis that I mentioned, you know, I believe that the community, specifically, you know, foodies, people that are passionate about food and, you know, sharing experiences there, and the restaurant partners that we work with, they can be really instrumental in highlighting some of these different issues that are going on, right? So this campaign that we're looking to do is called Restaurant Bailout. And so I'm looking to put together a coalition of community leaders and partners that could help me with this initiative, which is really about focus on, I mean, for Food Tribe, from a product standpoint, it would help us to launch a new loyalty program, you know, based off of that tap review system that I told you about, right? But then it's also like, you know, if we want to create a better review system or want to create a better food ecosystem, let's not make it about us. Let's make it about the people that are actually really hurting, raising awareness, right? We have these different stakeholders like the nonprofits and the restaurants who can then plug us into, you know, their chefs and, you know, the waiters and the janitors that are struggling right now, right? And if those people are struggling, then you can only imagine the people that are disaffected in terms of access to places to live, right? You know, like LA has this really large homeless population. Well, hell, what the hell's going on with them and struggling with, you know, COVID-19? So I would really, you know, the name of the campaign is Restaurant Bailout. I see it as, you know, a lead activation, you know, kind of campaign, a brand awareness campaign. But ultimately, if we can get some additional donations, you know, and, you know, help this community. The restaurant industry is it's projected to do $999 billion in revenue this year.
Wow.
Yeah, you had brands like Panera Bread that were, you know, seeking these funds that were, you know, appropriated by the federal government. That's backwards, right? So let's go the other way. And so the name of the campaign, Restaurant Bailout, is like, let's start at the very bottom, or what you guys consider to be the very bottom, what is our reality, right? And hopefully, you know, that kind of charged name is enough to like let people know, well, if you're not going to bail us out, we're going to bail ourselves out, right?
Exactly.
So, Terence, do you have like a timeline for a launch for this project?
Well, you know, I try to do 90 days at a time, so I would love to do it for at least through the end of Q2. But the way that things are shaping up, it feels like it's going to be a longer problem. You know, I think that we have like 33 million people that are filing for unemployment. Did it go up?
There's
So I mean, if we're like, I'm not a mathematician, but if we're like baking models, like I don't know how long that's going to affect people's bottom line. I think there are going to be a lot of restaurants and food businesses that don't come back.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Now, I do have access to an investor at my fingertips pretty much that has an interest in some of the things that we're all talking about. But what she's bringing to the table also are celebrity artists that are willing to contribute their name and their social media impact to what we're doing. But what we need is the same thing that anyone else would need, like an executive summary of what we're talking about, you know, the numbers things. So you can provide me with that as the beginning. I like to work with Nina. What she didn't tell you, there's a lot she hadn't told you. one of those things is that she is known and recognized here for being very much involved with producing bands and producing musicians and producing events. She's the event planner. So Terence, if at all possible, I would recommend we think about ways we can connect that dot, because just this past weekend or two, the Earth Day celebration, the weekend had stars from around the world that did like a major fundraiser, you know, for who they wanted. Go ahead.
My brain is already tinkering. One of my really good friends, I'll have to tell you guys a story about how we met over a drink or something. But my friend Tatiana runs a nonprofit in Los Angeles called Road to Artdom. And not sure if you're familiar with it. I believe the domain is roadtoartdom.org. But they,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it turns out that the recidivism rate for inmates goes down by a substantial amount for those that are involved in arts programs. And so
Okay.
what she, you know,
Mm-hmm.
being from South LA as well, she exactly Road to Artdom, Andrew, spelled exactly
Mm-hmm.
like that. But so she's got this she just bought a van this past year, which is really exciting to see her get. But she has this program called or she works at the city of LA with a program called Parks After Dark, and what they
Uh-huh.
do.
Yeah.
Familiar with Parks After Dark?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, she has used that prototype to then do, you know, other different community events. She had a really great collaboration using her 501c status to work with. They had a huge fundraiser at the Laugh Factory, which they made it COVID friendly. But she's got a huge network of artists and comedians that she's working with right now.
Nice.
We're able to maybe bring her into, you know, the fold, you know, as like a fourth or a fifth partner, you know, using her network, or, you know, she's also a visual storyteller. So the event was called Comedy Gives Back, Laugh Aid. And it took place on April 4th. And the website is Comedy Gives Back, and I can put that domain in there. They raised $368,000 through
Nice.
for COVID-19
Right.
relief funding, and they had comedians like Amber Lawson and Jody Lieberman. I'm not even, or excuse me, that was a team. I'm sorry. I'll give you guys the link here in the domain.
Well, here's the thing, Terrence. One of the main requirements is going to be with everything else. You know, who's your team, who's on the team. So I strongly recommend you reach out to her.
Okay.
If she has a track record of doing successful events, that makes the door open faster to getting more support.
Oh, that's yeah. She used to plan parties at for some brands at Comic-Con. Brilliant artist, visual storyteller, website developer, and product owner. Brilliant.
Now let me ask
And
you.
Terrence, I've been producing festivals for since '98, so over 20 years. But I produce a lot of outdoor festivals in Los Angeles.
Awesome.
So, Nina, do you think perhaps? Terrence, let me ask you. What is your corporate structure
So
for?
sole proprietorship.
Okay, so
My LLC lapsed this past year.
okay, well, here's the thing. In the first place, it's possible for any existing 501c3 to function as your fiscal agency or fiscal administrator.
She taught me that.
Okay. But looking down the road, the particular investor I have at hand, she really specializes in kind of large scale projects. And one of the requirements that she's looking for, or at least one of the incentives that would allow her to bring more resources to the table, is if any of the organizations is a B corporation or benefit corporation.
Okay.
I don't know how much you or your contact list might know about it, but that would certainly be a major anchor to allow me to bring what I can to the table faster. So it's important to
I
have.
have one. I have one, Andrew.
Okay. Then just with the people on the phone right now, I'm just recommending we kind of put our resources together, put it in like a pot to identify what we have and what we need. And if it's okay with you guys, I really would like for us to do Nina. Well, let me tell you a story, Chance, about Nina. About 3 years ago, she had this brilliant idea. She would put together a year-round calendar of events particularly for those that she was involved with and could get sponsors for. And the idea was, instead of sponsors paying a little money here, a little money there, they go ahead and make a year-round commitment, right, for a series of events.
Fantastic.
So what the challenge was then was having the administration infrastructure in place to handle the functioning of it while she did the top down. So what I'm asking you, Terrence, if you believe we might be able to pull together a collaboration among us that would bring all those elements together and look at this as not just a one-time event, but a perennial event that goes on and on, because as you say, it's unlikely that we're going to solve this problem in the foreseeable future.
So Paul just got done saying that he wanted to essentially leave a footprint that lasts 100 years, past him. I'm a little bit younger, so I'm not quite there yet. I've been thinking 30 years in the future, but now you're thinking that far. But the reality that I'm looking to build is Wakanda, right? And I truly mean that. And it's my belief that technology allows us to no longer have to rely on the promise of a better future. Technology allows us the opportunity to create that future, right, ourselves. And while we're figuring out, I've got my theories on how we're busy ruining the earth, but my escape plan is getting us. I want to get out of here, and I want to start something new, and kind of build something, this next generation, right? Like what's next for us. That being said, if we're taking baby steps, I would love to figure out a way of baking in those administrative costs into whatever budget that we're looking to kind of put together. And if we're successful 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, if we can kind of make this like as an ongoing thing where we have the sort of brand recognition of, hey, these people coming together are going to solve our food problem, quote unquote. That's the world I want.
Exactly.
One thing.
Exactly. And
I was just going to say one thing in relation to history. I love Hollywood and I love movies, and Wakanda's a great, it was all right. But let me tell you the truth. Timbuktu, we did.
Oh yeah.
Timbuktu was one of the most technologically advanced cities and richest cities in all of Africa. Expanded from the East Coast to the West Coast. See, that is our history. So we are actually already preordained to do that. That is the nature of what we do every day. We just forgot. But I'll leave it at that.
Okay, I wanted to say, you're right. You're definitely right. What I'm envisioning, what I see here is if you look at the principle of let's be whole, taking the whole parts of something, we're all of us here have a different part. So Terence, you've got the restaurant part. I'm working on the agriculture, agribusiness, and the food security part. But Andrew, you guys, I've been sitting here since this COVID-19 wrapping my brain in how to tie all this in as the whole. So, because we see the breakdown in our food security system, my brain has been churning on, okay, what needs to be in place so we can have an effective system. So we have access to, food security. We know about the restaurants. We know about the manufacturing. We've got to grow, so we need to create a food sovereignty program, global food sovereignty program that is going to be effective for the world, so that's where my mind is churning now.
To tack on, I 100% agree with you. And I think that, maybe another partnership in addition to, administration or somebody that's able to handle that, product development and design thinkers are going to be super important. And when we talk about designing these digital products, my cousin and I were laughing the other day because about 15% of what we say, Alexa can't understand. Alexa, she can't get it. You know what I'm saying? And that's because there was, somebody like probably, a product developer that didn't have the same vernacular, the same, language or, set of communication skills that I have. And they weren't able to program Alexa to have the type of functionality that I need, right? So if we're able to incorporate a design thinker or someone, that's really intelligent that can help create like digital products and even experiences through the life of the campaign. Because I'm imagining, a combination of, offline, like virtual events, using like, whatever sort of like AR, if we're able to, something like that. But I think that somebody that's able to create those experiences that are really like empathetic to our users, right? The people that we're looking to help. So, understanding like the restaurant professionals and, you know, the mothers that, you know, are unable to, you know, feed their kids for the next, you know what I mean? Like, I think that that's going to be super important, is really narrowing in on our audiences and then having a product person on top of that.
And Nina, what I would ask of you is if you could handle writing the narrative, because remember, if you could handle writing the narrative, then we can pull together what you need for the numbers.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds great.
So on the Global Business Incubation website, there's also like a vendor application. There's a member application. I think we need to pull together basic documents aligning our alignment together. Because the paperwork is gonna move the money. So if it's okay with you, Nina, I think today, April 30th, should be the day start when we begin to put things together.
Also, Miss Nina, guess the place I'm living, we just tilled 70 acres.
Wow.
All the way, and then my other partner, he's got 2 acres. Look, when this pandemic hit, I might have been sleeping on couches and stuff, but I have 10 months worth of food supply.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Amazing, amazing.
The facility that we have here, with currently now almost 100 people, we grow our own food.
Yes,
and we have such an abundance that we have to give it away.
Yes.
And I go back to the one thing that we've talked about before in relation to the food issue. Now I understand it's only a 2-week supply. If we go into a national emergency, we have a 2-week supply available.
That's true. That's
really
true.
Starving. So
that's true.
And I've been working with the boys I've been on the Sunday call, so I need to probably get you up to date on a few things there. I had to.
Please, yes.
I'm pushing it. So the basic, which is let's get members and get paid members, so you got some budget coming in, you know, and move forward. But the other piece too is I've been getting more involved in agriculture from the technology perspective. I'm learning.
Nice.
I even found out today that when you plow your field, you gotta pat it down. You take a roller and pat it down, because when you're planting plants, if you let the ground settle by itself, you'll uproot the plants that you plant, because some of them are only 1 inch, 2 inches. So as the ground settles, it doesn't take the plant with it. You lose it. So that's why they roll it down. I'm learning all kinds of stuff. You know, getting my fingers dirty and eating some real good food. Excellent food.
Awesome. Awesome.
So
I'll be a farmer by next week, Miss Nina. So that's amazing. And everything.
So now that you're home, Nina, you think by tomorrow we can have an outline?
Yes.
So, Terence, you think we can reconvene tomorrow about this time, or what's your schedule like?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to, before we hop off, just agree to our deliverables and responsibilities, and I'll be sure to be available.
Excellent. Well, this chat is still going to be available here. We can take notes, but again, I'm going to send us all the copy of this video, so we'll have it. And
great. Andrew, I think this is perfect timing, Andrew. Thank you so much to connecting.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's perfect timing. It's perfect timing to bring this coalition together, collaboration. So that's awesome. Thank you, Andrew.
Well, this is part 2. Paul suggested this because earlier we were on a 2-hour call like this.
and you know what, Andrew? I missed dinner. I missed dinner talking to you guys, man. I did, and we had chicken Alfredo, and I missed I'd eat turkey sandwiches tonight, me.
Andrea James called me up, and she was like, I was on this call, and your name was mentioned.
Yes, I invited you to that call, too. But
I didn't see it. Well, I have my food program, so.
No worries.
Over tomorrow, I'm not going to be able to make it, nor for this week, because I'm busy. You know, we have to bring up a computer lab, our server network, and we're distributing food and a number of things, and we just got 4 new people into the facility.
Okay.
I'm actually touring, and I'm touring the plant of enzymology research center tomorrow to get a concept of what they're going to be doing with the vets and how they're going to be working, because we're going to be sending them quite a number of people to function as employees. So for me, the best times for the next 2 weeks would be on a Sunday. And by the way, Miss Nina, guess what?
What?
Call me pastor.
What?
Right. Man, you should see my
Pastor
church.
Ruffin.
Yeah,
Oh
hey,
my
I got it.
God.
I got my church. I got sound system. I can
Yes.
sit. It's a pretty little place
That's
too. It is
amazing.
sweet.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
First services are Sunday.
Oh,
I'm the
nice.
chaplain.
Wonderful.
Military. I'm the
Wonderful.
chaplain.
That's
Are you going to
beautiful.
be streaming your services, Paul?
No, because the part of it, until I know that people are comfortable.
Right, gotcha.
Because
Yeah.
we are dealing with a medical facility.
Right.
There are people here that are here court ordered, and also due to being referred by the VA. So there are some privacy things that I really have to deal with. But worst case, we might run an audio. I just sent you. No, I didn't. I will send you. There was. Hold on for a second. Is it still up? There is an article that I just read, or that just came out, regarding manufacturing analog to digital playbook, strengthening the foundation of your manufacturing communications with digital. There has never been a better time to explore the benefits of digital communications, specifically for manufacturing, but others. So they're basically talking about streaming radio, what we did for global hip hop.
Yeah.
That's what they're talking about, straight up.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's
So
going to be an important part.
What's that?
I said, streaming our own content and communications, in my opinion, is going to be critically important for Nina and for Terence and for the artists that we bring to the table, because it's still all about owning the intellectual property. But there are so many artists that are willing to do public service announcements on behalf of good causes like ours.
Exactly.
That part of our responsibility is going to be to empower them to empower us.
Now, one of the things that I have, that I've been shooting for, and I'm a little bit closer than I was, 7-8 months ago, was finding someone to come up and give us about 20 grand. We actually, Welcome Home Vet was responsible for bringing about 15 grand. We just issued the check 15 grand to the Eagles Healing Nest today. Took, photo ops and all that, but
nice.
so I do have people that, if I can get their ear, but it's going to, in order for us to pull that off, basically, it's going to cost us about 20 grand startup, and 14 grand each year afterwards. But we would be able to handle a 10,000 listener network. You double it, and then we can handle video, and it'll all be private, uncensored on our own private network. Outside of the WW.
Well, those are the
I'm so glad to hear that, Paul. I was going to call you about that, because I was reading that now that Trump was able to declare emergency powers from the COVID, that he can shut down the internet, he can block websites, he can do anything at any time. So I wanted to call you to see, is it something we could do?
let me open your eyes real quick. Okay. Miss Melanie is an old biker girl hippie. The reason she started this operation was because the VA, really screwed around her son leaving out of the military. Her husband's military too. And so she got it in her craw, because she's one of them. She's one of them women that, I ain't gonna take this shit no more. Excuse me, I didn't mean to say that on the air. Beat that out, Andrew. So if you really want to get a concept of where we are politically, that saying, Trump has promises made, promises kept? Where do you think he got it from? Eagles Healing Nest. That's us. He had to ask permission to use that from Miss Melanie. That's the kind of connection we have. All right. That is where we're sitting. So, the The interesting thing that you want to bring up, though, it's not so much that he can close down the internet, but that almost would be impossible, because it'd be like, how do you shut down the radio? Maybe the WWW can do, but he can't shut down radio waves. I mean, they exist. So all you need is a transmitter receiver, and you're broadcasting, you know, seriously. And then if you run a mobile, then they can never catch you. I mean, you know, but the real significant thing is that he was given the power, the presidency, regardless if it's Trump or whoever, now has the power to produce money. And understand that the nature of the president is the chief, he is the, what is it, of our military force. He is the commander-in-chief of our military forces. If you remember back in the old 60s, the things that we were protesting against was the impact of the military-industrial complex and how crazy, you know, it is. Now military can write an unlimited check and begin producing all kinds of stuff. You know, and that's what's really scary, particularly when you go to that DARPA website and take a look at the research projects. And now they've got an unlimited checkbook to go ahead and push those projects through. Go from A to Z. It's going to take you 2 or 3 hours to go through them, all of those projects, but you'll get a very, very good sense. But understand this, because of the nature of the Eagles Healing Nest Welcome Home Vet, we don't have to play around in those political stances, and we have access now to some very, very interesting years and access to capital. But we can't come like Negroes, you know, half-headed. We got to come like, you know, Negroes with the document. You know, here's our budgets, here's what it's going to cost, you know, boom, 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 you know, just like anybody else that has to go after money. You know, the other piece too is what?
I'm ending the call. We'll pick it up tomorrow.
Okay.
Have a good evening. I love you all.
All right.
Love you too. Terrence, let's exchange info.
Yeah, let's. Well, I was gonna say maybe we could get like an email chain going.
I did. We're all in the same email. Check your email.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay.
Remove one of the R's.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Paul, you need to reply to all and put. I'll take care of it.
Okay.
I'll take care of it.
All right, guys. Talk to you soon.
Yeah.
All right. Talk
God
to you
bless.
soon. Thanks.